Good evening. Southern Health has been criticised yet again after a grandmother fell from a motorway bridge. Marion Munns was suffering from anxiety and depression when she died in November last year. On that day, her family were told Southern Health couldn't respond because the office was about to close. Rachel Hepworth has the story.
Marion Munn's family arrived for the inquest, describing her as one of life's beautiful people, before anxiety and depression began to consume her in 2014. The former nurse had been an active and popular woman, but as her mental health deteriorated, she became a different person, spending 3 months in a psychiatric unit. The court heard that after returning from hospital, her condition deteriorated. She was a shell of her former self, said her daughter, Kim Vella. But she also told the inquest that despite involvement from health professionals, she didn't feel there was a care plan in place for her mother. We simply lived from week to week, she told the court. Her other daughter, Angie Moat, said that she constantly had to push to get her mother the care she felt she needed. Well, things came to a head on November the 12th last year when Marion suffered a psychotic breakdown, escaping from an upstairs window at her home in Southampton while her family began frantically trying to contact emergency services. Her body was found on the M27 an hour later. She'd fallen from an overhead bridge. The court heard that earlier that afternoon, a care worker told the family they couldn't respond to their crisis calls because the office was about to close. Southern Health has been under fire since December last year after an independent inquiry found the trust had failed to investigate the deaths of hundreds of patients since 2011. In April, inspectors concluded the trust was still failing to protect patients from harm. And last month, Chief Executive Katrina Percy stepped down, initially securing a lucrative consulting position at the trust before leaving the organisation earlier this month. Well, there were questions today about whether Mrs Munn was taking her prescribed medication at the time of her death. The Southern Health staff who treated her are due to give their evidence in court tomorrow. Rachel Hepworth, ITV News in Winchester.
In other news tonight, a man has died following a collision involving a motorcycle and a car in Poole. It happened between the Frizzell roundabout and Lindsay Road yesterday afternoon. The man was taken to Poole General Hospital but died a short time later. A man's been questioned by police following reports an 11-year-old girl was approached on her way to school in Southampton last week. She was walking to the Oasis Academy on Romsey Road when the incident happened. The man has since been released on bail. Commuters from the south faced confusion and delays this morning as work continued on a £4.5 billion rail project. It involves renewing track at a busy junction at Fareham and means buses will replace trains between Southampton, Eastleigh and Portsmouth. The work should be finished by next week.
This project's been planned, or has been years in the planning, and there's around 30,000 man-hours going into this project just in this week. The planning that we put in place is absolutely meticulous, and we've allowed ourselves contingency time as well. So we're extremely confident that we're going to be able to hand back the railway on time for passengers next Monday morning.
Fingers crossed they do. Now, the long-awaited government decision on airport expansion will be made tomorrow. Heathrow is believed to be the favourite option, but Gatwick could also expand at a later date. But whichever airport is selected, it is likely campaigners will take legal action to try to stop the plan, and it could be 10 years before the new runway is actually built. CCTV images have been released of 5 men wanted in connection with the theft of bank cards. They were taken from a home in Horsham and then £60,000 was withdrawn from cash machines in Sussex, London and Essex. A new combined authority for the South Coast costing £900 million is one step closer tonight. The Isle of Wight Council has voted to press ahead with negotiations, which will mean decisions previously made by central government can now be made at a local level. Portsmouth, Southampton and the Isle of Wight would all join forces, and if approved, it will come into effect next year. Now, there are more than 20,000 winners in our next report. The Great South Run is one of the highlights in the sporting calendar here in the south. And Mel Blore watched athletes and fun runners pounding the streets of Portsmouth.
Olympians Hannah Mills and Saskia Clark sounded the horns to mark the start of the 26th Great South Run. First off were the elite women, followed by the men, and then came everyone else.
This is now the world's leading 10-mile run. 25,000 people are taking part. But of course, the big winner here today is charity. Since the event launched in 1990, more than £25 million has been raised.
We're running to raise money to refurbish our maternity bereavement suite at Queen Alexandra Hospital.
We got married on Wednesday, and so we thought we'd do it just to celebrate marriage, and also because it attracts attention and it means that a lot of people will donate to Macmillan, hopefully.
We wanted it for a good cause, and yeah, we sort of get together and do it. So maybe regretting it slightly now. I think it'll be all right when we start. I think we're good when we start.
Among those pounding the streets of Portsmouth yesterday, the familiar costume runners, including a rhino called Ellie. And of course, no race would be complete without the odd celebrity.
I've never done the Great South Run before. It's the biggest 10-mile running event in the world, so why not?
I'm not running today, I've got a dodgy foot, but I'm here to fly the flag continually for Bloodwise, and the rest of our guys, we've got about 12 runners running for us today, which is great.
First across the finish line in just over 47 minutes was Chris Thompson from Fleet. Ethiopian Tiranush Dibaba was the first woman back. Others took slightly more time admiring the views of the city.
It was a hot day for it, good for spectators, not so good for runners.
Yeah, really good. I got PB, so I'm happy.
Beat you by 30 seconds.
Did someone beat you?
Yes.
Congratulations. Yeah. Not bad when there's a few years between us.
For those who weren't worried about their time yesterday, well, they were just happy to cross the finish line. Mel Blore, ITV News, Portsmouth.
And well done to everyone who took part. And finally tonight, they're one of our closest living relatives, but orangutans face extinction in the wild, their forest homes destroyed by humans. But now a charity in Sussex is trying to save them and has just taken in their youngest ever orphan. Malcolm Shaw sends this report.
Baby orangutans like this would normally stay with their mothers until they're 7 or 8. But Gatot, as he's been named, is an orphan, his mother probably killed by poachers. Gatot is being cared for at a rehabilitation centre in Borneo, run by the Sussex-based charity International Animal Rescue. Today he's joining baby school for the first time.
Basically, we've just introduced him to the other orangutans in the group. And of course, it's always a traumatic thing. Any child going to school will feel very upset, but poor old Gatot was really not very happy about going into that little group of orangutans.
Habitat loss and illegal hunting have brought orangutans to the brink of extinction in the wild, so the rehabilitation of youngsters like these could play a vital part in the survival of their species.
I feel actually obliged to save orangutans because it's human intervention that's caused their problem. So we owe it to them to actually try and make a future for them and give them space so that they can actually continue their population as well as humans continuing their life as well.
It's a long and complex process to ensure the orangutans learn all the skills they'll need to fend for themselves. Only then can they be released back into the forest. But for now, little Gatot is content to have found a friend among the other orphans. Malcolm Shaw, ITV News.
And there's more very cute pictures on our website. Just go to itv.com/Meridian. Now, what does the weather have in store over the next few days? With all the details tonight, here's Simon.
From sleet to the slopes, driving through Europe. Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
Good evening. Well, you can probably just about get away with leaving the bed socks off tonight because, well, temperatures overnight are a little milder than they have been, which is odd because today temperatures were below average for the time of year. More back to normal tomorrow, but it will be mostly cloudy, few showers first thing, and the winds at least will stay relatively light. Basically, we've got high pressure in charge up to the northeast, and that's keeping the weather fronts well and truly at bay. But as that high pressure starts to settle into a more southerly position, we are going to see mist and fog developing as the week goes on. So some murky mornings to look forward to. Tonight it's showers that are drifting their way eastwards, a lot of dry weather too, and a lot of cloud, and that's why the temperatures aren't too bad, generally staying up towards double figures 8s and 9s at their lowest. And tomorrow morning might be a few showers first thing. Well, we've had the clear spells, could be a bit of early morning mist. That'll lift into low cloud. Plenty of cloud as we head through tomorrow. 1 or 2 breaks in it, limited brightness into the afternoon. But the winds stay light around 5 to 10 miles an hour, and the temperatures tomorrow, well, as I say, closer to where they should be for this point in October, peaking at around 13 or maybe 14 degrees.
Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
And that is all from us for tonight. We are back during Good Morning Britain from 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. But from me and from all of us here on the late team tonight, thanks very much for your company. See you again tomorrow. Good night.